Reddit, what's the worst way you've been rejected after working up the courage to ask someone out? The first time I ever had a crush on a boy, I invited him to dinner. I cooked all on my own and everything. I waited 45 minutes before I finally just went to my room and cried. I was 13. Oh crap, you are too early, you see. I really want to go out with XXXX. And I decided that if he hadn't asked me out by next Friday, then I would settle for you. So could you please ask me next Saturday? Because then I will know if I have to or not. This was not junior high or high school. I was 32. She was 30. Both of us divorced with children. Oh my god, she is raising future people. I asked this girl out. She started to cry and told me I look just like her brother that had died in Iraq, and then she showed me a photo of him. Asked a girl to a dance in high school. What if I have a boyfriend by then? Then he can wait in the fricking car. I had a crush on this boy, and as a girl in middle school, you're not supposed to ask the guy out, but all of his friends said, do it, he'll say yes. So I went up to him in the lunchroom in front of everyone, and he stood there smiling, waiting for it. Then, when I asked, he said no. Are you kidding me? Laughed and walked away. It was all set up as a funny joke, and everyone was laughing. Imagine a stupid cheap movie with those mean high school kids. That was exactly how it went down. Really embarrassing. Wah. I've been telling people you were my gay friend. Ouch. When I was like 14, I asked a girl to go out with me. Here is what she said. But, you know you are ugly, don't you? I mean, you don't have to say that. You can just say no. Why do you add more? This is just cruel. That crap hurts when you're teen. That's when you reply yay. That's why I'm asking you. This was back as a freshman in high school, but a popular guy kept asking me out, making a show out of it before class started. Eventually I said yes. He gave me a pitiful look and said, you know I was just kidding, right? In first grade I told some girl I liked her and we shall go on a date. Somehow my goddamn first grade teacher relentlessly made fun of me for it, and the whole class did too. That fricked me up for a bit. Hahaha, snack Burris wants to go on a date. What a pee. For show and tell, why don't you bring in your tampons, pansy? Hahaha, snack Burris first grade teacher. Asked a friend to a movie or something when I was 18. She laughed. Didn't reply, just laughed. Later she asked a mutual friend to tell me there was no chance. 2 weeks later, she was at my place asking me to be a date to her party that was coming up and totally into me. I was so confused. I stuttered multiple times while asking her out. The only thing she said was fail, then she walked away. A man, you wouldn't want to date a girl that uses trite phrases like that anyway. But yeah, I am a very grown man in his 30s and I still screw it up sometimes with the stutters. I was convinced that the girl was going to come to a movie with me, but she decided that she didn't want to go, so she sent a text saying, I can't go tonight. Later I check Facebook. There are pictures of her with another guy at another movie theater. This was about 3 years ago. When I was in high school, I asked a girl out on a date. She accepted, and when the day came, she told me she couldn't go because she got grounded. I went to a movie with a friend. The girl was sitting in the row behind us, with some guy I didn't know. One time back in the day of AOL Instant Messenger, this girl was talking to me for a few hours. We had been friends for a few years and I had always liked her, but she didn't know that. Well, this night she was bugging me about who I liked and wanted to know so bad. Eventually, after probably an hour of deflecting the question, changing the subject, or straight up saying it's private, I say you, and she responds with okay well I have to go now, bye. She ends up not talking to me for a year, and the only reason she did talk to me was because we were partnered up in a science class that next year. I also learned that around half the grade's girls was over her house that night for a big sleepover. My school was small, and my grade probably had 30 girls in it, and they all acted noticeably different around me. They wanted to find out who it was so they could embarrass me, as I was a large dude back then and people like making fun of big people. And when they found out it was her, well, I was apparently still the butt of the joke. Middle school was a lot of fun. Laughing loudly, are you serious? Are you asking for someone else? Or, oh, and now, a year later, I'm used as a joke. Do I know you? In 2nd grade I built up the courage to tell this girl Casey I liked her. I only told my friend Daniel how I felt. I got off on her bus stop, 3 blocks from mine. I started walking towards her and said, "Hi Casey." She interrupts me and yells, "Why did you get off the bus? I don't like you and I don't want you to ever talk to me." Daniel told me everything. Just leave me alone forever. I was pretty broken up about it. I marched right to my friend Daniel's house to kick his ass, but his aunt told me he moved that day. Daniel, if you are out there, frick you. Daniel always was an butthole. High school. My awkward phase. My mother tells me I'm pretty, and I finally get up the courage to ask out the cutest guy in my year to the movies. He says I'll have to think about it, and takes my cell phone number, which I thought was a good sign. We texted a few times, arranged a meetup at the movies. Gets to the day, I'm getting ready to go, make myself look all pretty and do my hair nice. I get to the movies. He's there, but so are all his friends. All of them, including the guy I liked, are laughing at the absurdity that he could ever want to go out with me, laughing at the fact I got dressed up. It was all a big prank. I have never been so humiliated. This is the worst thing on here. That's just awful. What a bunch of dongs. I asked a boy out once and he told me that he wouldn't date me because he was better than me. I would say you perhaps dodge a bullet there. Still, what a dong. Asked a guy I was crushing on to prom. He said sure. 2 weeks before prom, I heard that he had asked another girl. Well, I never said yes. Huh. Guy I know works at a boutique clothing store. Gets a crush on this girl that also works in said store. He asks her out and her response was, "I don't appreciate you talking to me." My response, "Goddamn." In 10th grade for prom, I did a big romantic ask involving our school's marquee, the big signs with interchangeable letters outside some schools, and she said yes. However, the night came, I picked her up, she refused to take pictures with me, barely ate her dinner, and turns out when we got to prom that she had used me just to get a ride to prom, on the outskirts of Houston, around an hour away, because she didn't have a car and her actual date lived out where the prom was and didn't want to drive into town to pick her up. So we get to prom, literally, the second we walk inside, she runs away and jumps into the other guy's arms. Feels bad, man. I hope you didn't take her home. Met a girl on OkCupid. We do some internet chatting and some texting. We decide it's time to meet. I go to the spot. I see her. It's obviously her. She makes eye contact with me from about 20-ish feet away and just keeps on walking. I leave, delete her from my phone and never heard from her again. I didn't have a OkCupid account for much longer either. My friend made this girl a card with a poem in it for Valentine's Day and he asked her out. She said no and laughed at him. It doesn't help that he misspelled beautiful and the poem went like roses are red, violets are blue, you are beautiful. We refer to that day as the Valentine's Day Massacre. I ended up having a huge crush on this girl that started hanging out with my circle of friends via a friend of a friend type thing. She would hang out with us, play video games and talk crap with us and was just a generally cool girl to be around. We were friends for several months before I started having some stronger feelings for her. I finally got the courage to ask her out. She turned me down in what I hope was an attempt to be nice by saying, "I don't think I could look at your face and be happy if I ever slept with you." Was that her way of saying our friendship is too important to me to complicate it with feelings and intimacy? Although I appreciate your courage in asking me out, I think, for now, a friendship is what I need from you. I convinced myself that was the case. I ran into her years later and she told me not going out with me was one of her biggest regrets. We ended up going out, drinking too much and found our way back to my apartment where we had a great night of crazy one night stand sex. I woke up the next morning and she was gone. I never saw her or heard from her again. I guess she really could not stand seeing my face after we slept together. Back in high school, I had a girl say something to the effect of, "Oh god, not another one," after she found out I liked her. 12th grade prom, I finally got up the nerve to ask the girl I was dreaming about for the last 4 years. She says yes to my astonishment but says sadly she or her family didn't have the money for a dress. I promptly offered to buy her dress for her. She appeared very happy. After some time she said, "Let's rent a hotel room, we can go early and get it then go home and change." So she went with me to get the room first thing in the morning. She grabbed the key when the clerk gave it to her, said okay see you tonight. We had already planned the limo and paid for it. I found it weird she wanted it to pick her up first. She said she wanted to meet my parents. Well, I go home and get ready, waiting and waiting. Limo never comes, she doesn't answer phone. I get a hold of my buddy at the prom. He tells me she is there with some other guy from another school wearing the dress I bought her, riding in the limo I paid for, and I am sure going to the room I paid for. Needless to say, I have trust issues to this day. His is the worst story that I've read in the thread so far. Sounds like she turned out to be a complete crapbag, because that is something that only a complete crapbag would do. All my friends said you're too ugly for me to date. Friend of mine asked a girl to dance one night at a club. Her response, no thanks, I've only had one drink. She told everyone in my small liberal arts college how awful I was. To this day I don't understand why. I was completely nice and if anything too shy. I always feared a girl doing this to me, which is why I was so shy in the first place. She just destroyed my self-confidence for years and years afterwards. Well, maybe if you weren't always trying to conquer Eternia, she would think you were a nice guy. Laughter. The laughing is definitely the worst. I think ignoring me, that's gotta be the worst, because it makes you think about trying again. Maybe they didn't hear me. All sorts of possibilities fly through your head. I just want something concrete like, sorry, you're not attractive. And then you can be happy you avoided dating someone who'd use the wrong you're. A girl and I were friends in HS and hung out a lot. I liked her but was too shy to ask her out. I was popular and a jock, but overweight and had serious self-esteem issues. Yes, even popular jocks are human. We flirted and I thought she was giving me the right signs. My crush was the worst kept secret everyone knew, even her, but we all just ignored the elephant in the room and continued to be friends until I could work up the courage. On Valentine's Day I laid a large bouquet of roses and a love letter expressing my feelings and asking her out on her front porch. All I got in return was a thanks. No discussion or anything remotely related to the content of the letter. I was too embarrassed to pursue the issue and pretended it never happened. I then found out through the grapevine she didn't like me that way. She was actually waiting, hoping someone else was going to ask her out. I played it off, but was terribly hurt. Ironically, because we were such good friends, everyone expected me to ask her to prom, including her. It was clear she would have said yes, but we'd have gone as friends. One night, I was hanging out with one of my best girl friends, and I impulsively asked her to the prom. She was so excited and said yes even though we'd be going as friends. When word got out I had asked someone else to prom, it was a scandal. The other girl never got asked to prom and I had a fantastic night with my group of friends. She said yes, but the next day I saw her with another man on the playground. Oh, the woes in the life of a first grader. I knew my first grade relationship was in trouble when I saw her putting valentines in the boxes of all the other boys in the class. Just for the guys out there, I just want you to know that throughout my life plenty of dudes have asked me out for which there was absolutely nothing wrong with them. In fact, I was attached to them and would have definitely said yes, had I not had a boyfriend already. Sometimes no just means poor timing. Keep that in mind. I heard the boyfriend line quite a lot. There's nothing spiteful about that at all. I also heard the I'm staying single for someone else line once or twice as well. After a few weeks of hanging out I finally asked. He said, sure we can go out sometime, but, you know I'm gay, right? I was so shocked that all I could do was say, no I did not know that. In elementary school all the girls in my class had a crush on the same boy. A bunch of us got together and wrote all our names on a paper which read circle the girl you like the most. He replied with I hate all of you. Asked a girl out, she said yes. Showed up to pick her up in my dad's 1967 black Camaro. I'm a badass, right? I'm wearing this velvet lined snakeskin jacket. Total badass was the early 2000s. I roll up to the door and she is not there. She is out on a date with this guy who kicked my ass a year or so before this. There was no man I hated quite as much as this mother. Anyways, her younger sister is telling me all of this. You see what happens. You know it. It's obvious. Should be a teen sitcom on NBC or some crap. I take out the younger sister. We ended up getting hot and heavy in the back of my dad's Camaro and I took her virginity. Then the cop found us and made us call our parents. My mom and dad drove up first and the cop talks to them for a little bit and my mom and dad are giving me death stares. My dad ends up driving me home so he can set me straight. It was 2 minutes before he said a word to me. All he said was, "Did you use a condom?" I said yes and he raised his hand to slap the crap out of me. Ended up giving me a high five. He let me borrow his car a lot more after that. Attaboy Josh Russell's hair. Like pretend, right? Got her number when I asked her initially. Bragged about it to friends. Then when I called later she responds along the lines of, "You wish she had just said no from the start so I wouldn't have bragged." 3D tomato from Veggie Tales. My mom won a beauty pageant when she was in high school and my dad literally looks like a buff K-pop idol but I literally look like a dry Cabbage Patch doll. Comment and add feature me to be featured in the next video. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.